Okay, I'm back. So apparently it's called a pendulum. So what I was saying before I ended it. Um, MJ on Soulful Revolution invited Jakara. Oh, I don't remember her last name. Jakara. Let me find out what her name is. Jakara something Lotus. I'm trying to make this bigger. Here we go. Jakara Blooming Lotus is her name. And so she was talking about a pendulum. So I'd never heard of that before. And apparently, but you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of back in the day when a woman was pregnant. There was like that playful, like token where you would get a necklace with a charm and then you would put it over the belly and then you would train it like, okay, if it goes this way, it's a boy. If it goes this way, it's a girl. And then you would be able to find the sex of the baby. So I guess it's called a pendulum. And so you it's like she's talking about like if you have a lot of thoughts in your head where it's hard for you to meditate or hard for you to connect, and you're needing an answer for something, that this would be a great way to kind of overcome that challenge of having to go through all of the ruminating thoughts. They call it, I guess, a monkey brain. But it's like in mental health, it's ruminating thoughts where you have worries, or thoughts that are just lingering and you can't stop them. And so sometimes that makes it really hard to meditate and sit still because there's so much going on in here. So we have to kind of tone it down, right? So she was making really good points about, if you find that it is hard for you to connect to your higher self in that manner, it could be because there's a blockage, or, that you're needing to still work on something before you have access in that way. And it kind of speaks to my journey where I was given, right, bits and pieces at a certain time. And I wasn't given the answer right away, but I was giving, like, I had to go through the healing process before certain things would open up to where I felt more and more trusting of myself, because really that's what it comes down to. And I didn't finish. I got cut off when I was talking about the newest triangle, right? Of you had the war veterans, and then you had the people with a criminal record, and then you have the choice, right? Where you're knowingly, willfully, purposefully embarking into the unknown versus being pushed out versus the fear, more of a fear-based knowing, if you will. That's the thing, they all incorporate a level of fear of the unknown. And so then by default, our bodies want to feel safe, right? They want to feel safe, and it instinctively will do what it takes to feel safe again. And so that's why, like, for the inmates, some of them will unknowingly, purposefully find themselves back into the prison system because it's where they last felt safe. And then you have some people who are war veterans who will completely detach themselves to feel safe, right? Or they go back into that setting because it's they can anticipate that type of unknown, right? And then you have the people that are just wanting to do this for fun, right? For the sheer excitement or the adventure of it, right? And so there is an element of, if you're aware that that's what that is, that I'm assuming because it was more of a purposeful, willful choice, you're able to regulate yourself, hopefully, right? So anyways, why was that important? Safety, trusting yourself. It's all tied into this whole essence of trauma, right? How when you experience trauma, there's this element that's outside of you that interrupts your ability to tap into yourself, your intuitive sense, right? And these three experiences, even though some may be traumatic and then some are in between, and then some it's more like, well, I'm choosing this, but then there's the potential of something occurring. But they all require a certain level of heightened intuition, right? And it's clear that when you're not able to tap into that by following your gut and making choices for yourself, when the choices are made completely for you, like in the prison system, right? They have no purpose to tap into their intuition. And because everything is being, you know, decided for, right, for them. And then, you know, and then there's more of a certain, it's fascinating to to see it the way I'm seeing it. But anyways, why are you going that way? Safety, tapping into yourself. Okay, pendulum. So the pendulum, she's talking about how some people might judge it and say, oh, well, you're moving it, right? And she says, she's like, we're a vibrating, energetic being. So we're constantly in motion. Like, and it's so true. Have you ever sat Indian style or cross-legged, right? Crisscross applesauce. And then you close your eyes, and if you, I mean, I feel it, but maybe it's because I'm more in tune with my movement of my body, but I start feeling myself swaying. Or even if you're standing in line and you just start feeling yourself sway. And it almost, like if you pay too much attention to it, it almost feels like you're gonna fall over. But you're not even moving, like you're standing still. So it's like we're constantly balancing ourselves in the slightest move. It's just so fascinating. So she highlighted that. She's like, yeah, you're constantly moving, but if you're not in tune with that subtle movement, right? The silence, what we don't see, what we don't hear, then that's in our higher self is we're constantly in connection to our higher being, our higher self, energetically speaking, right? And so the movement, it is you. It's just your higher you, like, telling you which way to go. So I thought that was like mind-blowing, but at the same time, it's so freaking true. Because, you know, again, you have to make the time to listen. You have to make the time to pay attention to the smallest details, right? And it requires you to sit still. It requires you to make the time to listen, to make the time of silence, right? To go within. However you choose to, because there's different avenues. I prefer to, like, you know, for me, what works is putting on the music and breathing and doing what Gary says and just, you know, just being present with myself and taking that time to just, you know, stop or pause and, you know, breathe and focus on that and then just smile and being present in the moment, right? And and I still have thoughts that go in my head, but I'm just acknowledging them, and then sometimes I'll push them away, and sometimes I'll stick with it a little longer, and sometimes that's what triggers the movement. So I'm just learning how to listen, right? Trial and error until you figure out your own internal compass, if you will. But anyways, I'm about to have my breakfast, which really isn't breakfast, but I decided to have this. Anyways, if you ever come to San Francisco and you decide to go to the Mission Street Market on Thursdays, there is this lovely, lovely lady who sells vegan cookies. So this is her brand. This is what it looks like. They're freaking delicious. Delicious. And then there's this lovely man. His name is Malik. And he gifted me this one because I went back and I bought all this stuff. I'm like, I need all this stuff. And I finally found, like, because I try to stay away from tortilla chips, but I like the crunchiness. Like, I mean, if it were me, I'd snack all the time. But I have to be mindful, right, of what I eat. And sometimes, like last night, when I stay up late, I tend to eat more. But anyways, I went back because I purchased some lentil. It's like this lentil thing, and you put it in the microwave and it hardens, or you can put it in the oven because I told him I don't have a microwave. But I found a cheaper way to, like, warm it up really quick without having to turn on the oven, and it becomes like a tostada almost, like a very thin, fragile tostada. But I like it because it simulates chips for me, right? And I can't really have chips, regular chips, because of all the stuff that they contain, and then I break out their tortilla chips. But these are lentils, so I love them. I'm like, I want more of these. And I'm taking some home this weekend to give. But anyways, so he gifted me this one because I picked the other snack that he he gifted me twice. Last week he gifted me something because I bought a lot, and then this week the same thing, and he gifted me something new to try. And it's this sweet and salty snack, which I love that combination. And it's called Karachi mix, but so this is what it's called. So, you know, in case you want to support, I'm not gonna have that for breakfast. I'm gonna have a cookie and my little, you know, mushroom coffee with my chocolate collagen drink that I haven't had in a while. So I have a client in about 10 minutes, so I'm going to enjoy this. But I just wanted to continue speaking about Jakara and the pendulum because I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, I knew it was like a superstitious thing, you know, growing up, but it makes sense. It makes sense what she's saying. So I just want to speak on that. Take care. Bye.
Hi. My name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and we'll see what else comes next for me. So